A very good morning, dear students. Welcome to Geography period. And today we are going to discuss, or we are going to continue with same chapter, that is minerals and energy resources, chapter 5th of your textbook of geography. So in our previous day we discussed about some of the non-ferrous mineral, one non-metallic mineral and one rock mineral. So under non-ferrous mineral we discussed about the copper and bauxite. So copper and bauxite both are good conductor of heat, as well as they are used in electronic and in industries, and basically copper is being used in electronic industries as electric cables. It is also used. They are good, they have the quality of malleability and ductility. Then we have discussed about the another non-metallic mineral, which includes mica. So mica is a series of plates or leaves, and these have a very good dielectric strength, then low power loss, and high voltage capacity. Then we discussed about rock mineral, which includes limestone, and limestone is basically found in the rocks which are composed of calcium carbonate and carbonates. Okay. And then like we discussed about, also it is important for the cement industries. Then now today we are going to discuss about like conservation of minerals, why we need to conserve minerals, and beside that we are also going to learn about the energy resources, which are of two in broad categories. Okay, so first of all, let's see why conservation of minerals are important. Minerals are non-renewable. Most of the minerals are non-renewable in nature. That's why it takes thousands of years to form, and so continued extraction of these minerals will lead to depletion of these reserves, and that is why it is very much necessary to use it in a very judicial and planned manner. So first thing is that most of the minerals are non-renewable in nature. That's why it takes long period to form, and we need to use it in a very judicial manner because its formation process is very slow. So if we use it in a extensive manner, or if we continued extraction or continued use of these resources, minerals can lead to depletion of these resources. So we need to use it in a very judicial and planned manner. There should be resource and mineral planning, sustainable planning. It should be used in a sustainable manner so that it remain for the future. Then we have another point related to conservation of minerals, the strong dependence of industry and agriculture upon minerals, deposits and the substances manufactured from them. So industries basically require minerals. So that's why there is a strong dependence of the industries on minerals. So we must conserve these minerals so that it sustain even for the future. But if we finish everything in today, it will not remain for the future. Then the total volume of workable mineral deposits are insignificant fraction. Though some minerals are of large reserves are found, but workable mineral, good quality minerals are very less in quantity. That's why it should be used in a judicial way. Then another one, the rate of replenishment are indefinitely small in a consumption, which we already discussed, that it takes millions of years to form, means its replenishment time is very long, or we can say it take a longer period to form. So the rate of replenishment is infinitely small or lower than that of the rate of consumption. So we should also use it or consume it very in a judicial manner. Then a concerted effort to be made in order to use mineral resources in a planned and sustainable manner. That's why a concerted effort should be made by the government to use these resources in a very proper manner, in a judicial manner, or in a sustainable manner. So that is about the conservation of minerals. Basically most of the minerals are exhaustible in nature. It takes long period for its formation, and it requires to be used in a very judicial and planned manner. There must be some concerted effort should be made to use these resources in a sustainable manner. Then we have the next topic is energy resources. So energy resources means those sources from which energy is being is being obtained is known as the energy resources. So it is of two broader categories. One is conventional and another one is non-conventional. So examples are given: conventional, which includes firewood, cattle dung, coal, petroleum, natural gas, and hydroelectricity. Non-conventional sources includes solar, tidal, geothermal, biogas energy, wind energy, etc. Now we will have a discussion on the difference between the conventional and non-conventional sources of energy. Let's see first the characteristics of the conventional sources of energy. So conventional sources of energy, which we already have discussed, examples like firewood, cow dung or dung cakes, then coal, petroleum, natural gas, etc. are non-renewable sources of energy. So these are non-renewable sources of energy. So we got one characteristics of conventional source, that these are non-renewable source of energy. And next, they have been in use since a long time. So their use have been for a very long time. So they have been used in a very long period of time. So since long time. For example, firewood and coal have been used since a very long time. People used to cook even using firewood and coal in the rural places also. So this particular conventional sources are used since it has been in use since longer period. Then most of these energy sources, coal and firewood, cause pollution when used. And another characteristics we got, that it pollute the environment. So first one is non-renewable, most of the conventional sources. Second one is most of the conventional sources are what? These are been in since from a long period it has been in use. Then third one is that these causes environmental pollution. Then next one, they are common and widely used sources. They are very common and widely used sources. Thermal power. Thermal power means use of coal, petroleum, etc., which has been even for the industries also it has been used. So thermal power is very it is very common and it has been widely used sources. So these are all about the characteristics of conventional sources. Now next is non-conventional sources. Non-conventional sources of energy, which include solar, tidal, wind energy, are renewable sources. So opposite, there it was non-renewable, conventional, and now non-conventional are renewable sources. The next one is these sources have recently developed. There we got that it has been in use since long period. So but non-conventional sources, they are recently developed and are still developing. For example, the technology of producing electricity from solar panels has recently developed and it is since developing. Some of the other sources are still developing. So this is recently used, and that one conventional one has been in use in since long time. Then they do not cause any pollution. There we got that it causes environmental pollution. So here we got that these do not cause any pollution to the environment. Then next, they are comparatively new sources of energy and hence are widely used. They are comparatively new sources and hence they are not widely used. But the conventional sources were common and it has been from very long period of time it has been under use. So that was very common and it was widely used in every part of the world. But non-conventional sources are recently developed, that's why they are not widely used. For example, solar panels and windmills are not widely used even now. So this is all about. So we got 4 points, but you have to give the examples of conventional and non-conventional, which was mentioned in the first point only, including the 5th point, that is this point. So this will be number 1 point, then number 2, number 3, number 4 and number 5th. So that's all for today. I hope you have understood. Please note down the points in your copies. Thank you.